a delinquent student named Nomura, who's basically your typical troublemaker, always getting into fights at his old school. Eventually they had enough and transferred him to this place called Private Aichi Symbiosis Academy. Now here's where things get interesting. This used to be an all-girls school, but when they decided to go co-ed, the female students weren't exactly thrilled about it. So they started carrying actual weapons like swords and spears to keep the guys in line. Pretty wild stuff. And Nomura walks right into this situation as the new transfer student who's about to flip this whole system upside down and make all these armed girls acknowledge him as someone they can't mess with. So, not long after Nomura arrives at the school, there's this group called the Supreme Five Swords, who hold an emergency meeting to discuss this new transfer student. They're really concerned about him because he got expelled from his previous school for causing all kinds of chaos, and apparently there's a pretty long list of people he's beaten up. This tells them he's definitely got some serious martial arts skills. The leader of the Supreme Five Swords is this girl named Rin Onigawara, and she decides to put Nomura in her class so she can personally teach him a lesson and make him follow the school rules, which basically means making him submit to their authority. When Nomura walks into the classroom, he's immediately confronted by Rin and all the female students in the class. They threaten him to follow the rules and stop being a delinquent. Even though they're literally pointing weapons at him, Nomura refuses to back down. He decides he's going to fight back and win his freedom at this school. As he's leaving the classroom, Rin chases after him to stop him, and this time she's seriously using her weapon against him. Watching how fast and precise his movements are, Rin becomes even more convinced that Nomura trains regularly. Because of this, she pulls out her most powerful sword technique. After dodging several of her attacks, Nomura starts getting serious about fighting back. When Rin lets her guard down for a second, he goes for a pressure point at her waist and hits her with this incredibly powerful strike technique. Then, while Rin's trying to grab her sword again, something completely unexpected happens. This girl with pink hair named Nono accidentally hits Nomura and he falls forward, which results in him accidentally kissing Rin. Peak anime moment right there. After Rin gets defeated by Nomura, another member of the Supreme Five Swords named Mary volunteers to take her place. Meanwhile, Nomura, who's already caused enough trouble, is trying to figure out how to get permission to leave the dormitory. And unfortunately for him, he needs approval from the leader of the Supreme Five Swords, plus stamps from all 5 members. The next day, Nomura brings a box of cookies to the classroom because he wants to make peace with all his classmates. But all the female students stay away from him. They're super wary of Nomura and worried that he might steal their first kiss like what happened with Rin. When Nomura asks about Rin's condition, he finds out she's running a fever because she's still shaken up from the incident. So Nomura decides he's going to visit her at the dormitory, and he actually goes into the girls' dormitory just to see Rin. Back at the dorm, Rin's in her room feeling restless while thinking about what happened earlier. A little while later, Nomura shows up at the girls' dormitory and says he came specifically to check on Rin and brought cookies for her. Turns out Rin's willing to accept the cookies from Nomura, and the girl who initially hated him is now clearly starting to develop feelings for him. There's another reason why Nomura wanted to see Rin, though. He wants to get permission to leave the school grounds. Since Rin can't give him that permission herself, he suggests that Rin should go out with him so she can keep an eye on what he does while they're outside. This completely catches Rin off guard and makes her fever even worse. Then, when Nomura catches Rin who's about to fall over, there's a huge misunderstanding. Nono, the pink-haired girl, walks in and thinks Nomura's getting a little too hands-on with the situation, if you catch my drift. Shortly after Nomura leaves the dormitory, he runs into 2 female students carrying weapons, and they start arguing because both of them want to beat Nomura to boost their reputation. Even though Nomura doesn't want to fight them, he's forced to defend himself and teach them a lesson. After Nomura deals with the female students who attacked him, people start thinking negatively about him again. Rin, who had just started trusting him, also looks disappointed in what Nomura did. Because of this, Rin decides she needs to keep watch over Nomura wherever he goes. Meanwhile, Mary, who found out that her underclassmen got played, is now targeting Nomura. While Nomura's hanging out at his dorm, he hears from his friend that Mary is different from the others. If Rin fights just to chase guys away, Mary will do whatever it takes to torture her target. Still, there was one student who managed to survive them, a transfer student known as the Undefeated Queen. The next day, Rin starts showing up to keep watch over Nomura. Apparently, she already knows the truth, so she's not mad at him anymore. When Nomura is standing in front of the school building, he meets a female student who holds the title of Queen. The moment he sees her, he thinks this student is Amu, someone he used to fight against and who beat him in the past. At first, Nomura thought Amu was a guy. Even though back then Amu looked like a male student, she's actually a biological female. Right now, Nomura can't approach her yet because he has to deal with Mary, who's been targeting him since yesterday. During their fight, Nomura's not used to Mary's attacks yet, and he keeps getting hit in various parts of his body because he can't dodge properly. If Nomura gets caught by her moves, he's the only one who's going to suffer. His movements are also getting slower because Mary's attacking points that affect his blood circulation. In this situation, Nomura can only rely on luck. He waits for Mary to attack his stomach area, and then counterattacks to take her down. After learning that Nomura isn't as bad as the rumors say, Mary decides to become his monitor. Nomura doesn't mind this, but it gets pretty troublesome because they end up arguing a lot. As for the other members of the Supreme Five Swords, it looks like Rin and Mary have already been conquered by Nomura. This situation obviously can't be left alone, so a female student named Hanasaka challenges them to a competition. If Nomura wins, Hanasaka will give him the stamp for his exit permit. Nomura's not going to pass up this opportunity, so he accepts the challenge to get permission to leave the school. The first challenge they have to pass is wild sumo wrestling, so they need to quickly get ready and put on special sumo belts. Usually there's an attendant who helps put them on, but since Nomura can do it by himself, he also helps his friends put on their belts. When everyone's ready, Nomura enters the competition area. At first, he thinks his senior will be his opponent, but it turns out his opponent isn't human at all. It's Hanasaka's pet bear. Up until now, Nomura's never lost a sumo match, so he stays confident and isn't scared of the bear. The sumo match begins, and they both push against each other from the front. Then Nomura uses his secret technique to push back his opponent. Pushing an animal that size isn't as easy as he thought. He has to use his special move multiple times until his opponent backs up. Since he's been fighting adults since he was a kid, lifting an animal that big isn't that difficult for him. Even though he manages to lift and throw it, because the bear's belt isn't tight enough, Nomura wins the match when his opponent's belt comes off. Hanasaka can't accept her defeat and says the game is over. Next, she orders everyone to start a war. Now the door to the roof is open for Nomura, and he's ordered to go there alone. He has to fight everyone who gets in his way along the path, with a total of 34 people on her side. Rin and Mary think this is a trap, and since he already won the competition, they suggest Nomura shouldn't bother with it. Even so, Nomura feels he has to face it, because he wants to rescue his friend who's being held hostage. A little while later, Nomura arrives at the roof of the building. Apparently, Hanasaka can't accept that two girls came with him. She says they're no longer worthy of being called the Supreme Five Swords of Justice. Even so, those two still have their reasons for defending themselves, so they won't let Nomura act alone. Nomura and Rin plan to fight Hanasaka, while Mary goes downstairs to make sure no one disturbs them. When Nomura faces Hanasaka, she uses her pet to attack Nomura, while she personally faces Rin in sword combat. Besides using a sword, Hanasaka also uses special techniques when attacking her opponent. Fortunately, Rin also has a secret technique she can rely on. This applies to Mary and Nomura too, so they can still unleash various surprise attacks that can't be underestimated. Because Hanasaka's actions have gone too far, Rin can no longer accept what she's doing. As a member of the Supreme Five Swords of Justice, after all this is over, she'll punish her. Right now, they just need to focus on the fight so they can achieve victory. When Rin's alone, she remembers what Nomura said to her before. Nomura told her she looks more suited when she's not wearing a mask. After getting close to Nomura, Mary also becomes more enthusiastic about changing her appearance. But both of them look pretty disappointed, because lately more and more girls have been approaching Nomura. Nomura suddenly became a popular student after defeating the bear at school, so Rin and Mary's supervision of him gets even stricter. They plan to correct him again like they did before. At the same time, there's someone else secretly watching Nomura. Turns out she's planning to trap him by creating a really complicated problem, which causes Rin and Mary to become hostile toward him again. Both of them really regret trusting Nomura. Apparently, a female student named Sattorii did something to destroy their relationship. If those two no longer side with Nomura, Sattorii can plan whatever she wants. To solve this problem, Nomura plans to catch the culprit. He deliberately turns himself in to get arrested so he can infiltrate the girls' dormitory. Hanasaka's willing to help him because whatever her reason, Sattorii did something that doesn't make sense. To infiltrate the girls' dorm, Nomura's willing to endure terrible treatment from his own friend. He can't stand someone deliberately trying to ruin their relationship. Right now, Sattorii's not in her room, so he immediately searches her room to find solid evidence. But Sattorii didn't keep anything in her room, so he has to confirm it himself, directly in front of the culprit. Sattorii has a strange personality and is really mysterious. Until now, no one can figure out how she thinks. Even when meeting with Nomura, she stays calm like nothing happened, and she even goes to the trouble of explaining everything she's done to Nomura. Meanwhile, Mary and Rin, who've been influenced by Sattorii, look really angry and disappointed with Nomura. Even so, there's still a little bit of trust between them. After learning why Sattorii's bothering him, Nomura has no choice but to fight her. This fight is a bit different though. He can't focus on facing his opponent because Sattorii refuses to wear proper clothing. It's one of those tactical distractions that would make any guy lose their concentration, basically fighting on hard mode. Hanasaka, who got poisoned from the start, can't maintain her consciousness for too long, so they're really facing a fight under disadvantageous conditions. Shortly after the fight starts, Sattorii immediately launches deadly attacks. Even though her face looks cute, she's actually terrifying when attacking. Even though he's tried to face her, Nomura still can't understand Sattorii's fighting style. She fights like she's playing a guessing game. He can't predict what attack his opponent will use next because he's dealing with some serious visual interference. After observing carefully, Nomura realizes something. He notices that the sword technique Sattorii uses is called keisi, a technique that uses one of 10 sword moves in one fight. At the same time Hanasaka's trying hard to fight Sattorii's subordinates, she keeps trying to beat them, even though her body is being affected by poison. To end the battle, Nomura does various things to make his opponent let her guard down. He deliberately strips off all his clothes too, so Sattorii loses focus and tries to divert her gaze. That's how he manages to win the fight, basically fighting fire with fire in the most ridiculous way possible. It was genuinely a tense battle executed in the weirdest way imaginable. Hanasaka also manages to turn the situation into a complete victory. After finishing the fight, everyone who was defeated becomes friends with Nomura. This even applies to a mysterious girl like Sattorii. Next, Nomura will definitely face the last member of the Supreme Five Swords. Compared to the other members, Tsukuyo is someone whose abilities are hard to predict. Even though her appearance looks weak, Sattorii already acknowledged her skills. If Nomura faces her now, Sattorii's sure Nomura will definitely die, so she tries to hide his presence from that girl. Meanwhile, Rin and Mary can't stop thinking about Nomura, so they both want to check on him in the torture room. But their plan can't be carried out because Nomura is currently in the health room, being accompanied by Sattorii. Thanks to Sattorii's explanation, the misunderstanding between them is also resolved, so Nomura and his two friends can make up. Shortly after Nomura and Rin reconcile, Rin's willing to do various things as an apology. Actually, there's one thing Nomura wants to do with Rin. He asks Rin to close her eyes and then removes the mask attached to her face. Just by removing her mask, it makes Rin look really uncomfortable. When asked about the reason, Rin starts telling him about her past. All this time, Rin deliberately used a mask to cover her face. She doesn't want to show her face because she feels she has an ugly face. She thinks like this for a reason. When Rin was little, her father left home and had an affair with another woman. Because her mother saw that woman's shadow in her daughter's face, she considered Rin to be an ugly child. When Rin wore that mask, her mother could forgive Rin, who was born because of an irresponsible father. Nomura is the first person who complimented her face, so Rin feels really happy and thinks about taking off her mask permanently. The next day, Nomura dreams about fighting Amu. He doesn't understand why after so long he's just now dreaming about that.
This makes him lazy to go to school and want to lie down to continue his dream. But he can't do that because Rin's already in front of the dorm waiting for him to arrive. This time, Rin came alone. Mary couldn't come because she's busy looking for her missing stuff. Turns out there's chaos at the girls' dormitory. Someone lost their belongings and someone else lost their pet. Hanasaka doesn't actually want to make a big deal out of this, but she's starting to suspect the culprit is Sattorii. Meanwhile, Sattorii, who's on the school roof, looks like she's planning something to cause chaos. After searching various places, Nomura understands the situation that's happening. Actually, no one stole the pet or stole Mary's underclassman's wig. It was Hanasaka's pet that did all of it. Even though the missing items have been found, the chaos continues. Apparently, Amu came to the roof of the building to meet with Sattorii. Amu can't let Sattorii do as she pleases and decides to eliminate Sattorii and her subordinates. Amu says Sattorii has nothing. She's just a lonely child who takes away other people's freedom. Sattorii has a subordinate named Misogi, and it turns out Sattorii and Misogi are twin sisters. The person who's been thought to be Sattorii is actually Misogi. Misogi has taken everything her older sister had until there's nothing left. Even though through violent means, this time Amu succeeds in making her realize her mistakes. She looks so hysterical when her sibling is suffering.
After her business with the twin sisters is finished, Amu faces the other members of the Supreme Five Swords. She immediately attacks them and defeats them mercilessly. The female student named Tsukuyo Inaba is a girl with braided hair who's the strongest. She's known as the only middle school student who holds the title of Supreme Five Swords. Inaba is feared by almost all students because she has terrifying abilities, so Nomura's friends warn him that this girl is dangerous. Even though he's been warned, Nomura doesn't care. He'll still go to her to ask for the last stamp so he can leave the school. When Nomura approaches her, Inaba immediately launches an attack that's incredibly fast. Her attack speed is hundreds of times faster than regular sword techniques, so Inaba can slash something in just the blink of an eye. Inaba really understands the fighting technique Nomura uses. The reason is because they come from the same place. She deliberately talks about many things with Nomura because there's something she wants to ask. Unfortunately, Nomura can't keep listening. He has to immediately rescue Hanasaka, who's fighting against Amu. Nomura arrives a bit too late. Amu already beat up everyone who dared to fight her. Hanasaka also suffered really serious injuries. She got wounds all over her body and lost her ability to see. Then Amu goes back to looking for trouble elsewhere. After talking with Inaba, Rin and Mary team up to fight her. But even though they're working together, they still get defeated in a short time. At first, Inaba didn't care about that fight, but thanks to her meeting with Nomura, now she cares about the people around her and wants to protect them. When the fight starts, their abilities are balanced, but the sword Inaba uses is just a regular sword, so Amu can easily destroy it with just physical attacks. Nomura remembers his first meeting with Amu. After successfully saving someone from delinquents, he approached Amu to introduce himself. Even though it was their first time meeting, at that time they immediately became close friends. Nomura thought Amu was a fun person, and Amu felt the same way. Because of that, she tried to get close to Nomura by inviting him to tour the school. Unfortunately, Nomura already had an appointment with someone. Feeling annoyed because her invitation got rejected, Amu ended up beating the person who was close to Nomura. That was the beginning of the hostility between Amu and Nomura. Nomura started hating her because she destroyed the freedom and peace he wanted. Even until now, Amu still does the same thing. She takes away his peace by beating up people close to Nomura. Regular attacks won't affect Amu, so Nomura doesn't know if he can win fighting her. Even so, he feels he has to keep fighting. Otherwise, other people will definitely become victims. The fight between Amu and Nomura happens, and now Nomura looks ready to beat her. But the result is actually the opposite. Because his feelings are unstable, his movements are half-hearted, which causes Amu to corner him. That's when Inaba and the others give him advice, and they also manage to make Nomura more enthusiastic and increase his self-confidence. On the other hand, Amu really wants to have Nomura. Even though they're enemies right now, she still hopes to have a friendship like before. But since her wish can't come true, she decides to just finish him off. By taking advantage of his opponent's weakness, Nomura manages to launch his strongest attack. Since Amu can still withstand it, next they attack each other without caring about their body's condition.
Inaba doesn't understand their way of thinking. Even though they keep receiving attacks from each other, they actually look really happy and enjoying the fight. They're no longer thinking about winning or losing. The fight becomes a way to understand each other by hurting each other. In the end, Amu gives Nomura the chance to finish her off, but he doesn't want to do it and chooses to settle everything peacefully. After the fight ends, Inaba suddenly appears from behind. Since they can't be friends and there are many things that need to be fixed by Nomura, Inaba offers to become his teacher. She'll also give him permission to leave the school if Nomura accepts her offer. The offer Inaba proposed is really beneficial for Nomura, but he has a habit of refusing, especially at times like this. A little while later, the principal comes to them and tells the students to disperse, except for Nomura. It looks like Nomura will be given severe punishment and expelled from the school. Even though his goal hasn't been achieved, he can't do anything about it. When he hears news that Amu left the school, Nomura has no choice but to accept Inaba's offer. He's willing to accept the offer to become her student in order to get permission to meet Amu. After that, Nomura lives his daily life peacefully, and it turns out the information about his expulsion was just the principal's joke. So yeah, that's the story of how one delinquent managed to survive in the most dangerous school ever while somehow making all the armed girls around him either respect him or fall for him. Pretty wild ride, honestly.
All right, that's gonna wrap it up for today's recap. If you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure you hit that subscribe button, drop a like to help the algorithm gods bless this channel, and leave a comment letting me know what anime you want me to recap next. Also, if you've got thoughts on Nomura's journey or your own experiences dealing with oppressive systems, even if they didn't involve sword-wielding schoolgirls, drop those stories in the comments. I love hearing from you all. This has been Recap God, reminding you to stay true to yourself, keep fighting for your freedom, and maybe keep your clothes on during important battles, unless it's absolutely strategically necessary. Catch you in the next recap.